In the year 2024, Thailand introduces its latest horror movie, The Petrolman. This thriller takes place in the haunted Tree of Heads, a place rumored to revive the most genuine head-wearing rituals. Remarkably, it's directed by an actual exorcist. The film's spine-tingling and thrilling scenes are sure to send chills down the spines of millions in the audience. The narrative kicks off with a young exorcist named Kun, who digs up the body of a recently buried woman from an abandoned grave. He then finds himself compelled to take a bath in the darkness. As Gon clasped his hands and recited the incantation, the woman suddenly sat up. In that instant, Gon drew his exorcism knife, and the woman opened her eyes, glaring fiercely at him. When the vase was dropped, Gon burned the woman's chin with a white wax candle. Again, as the vase fell, Gon used the candle to scorch the woman's jaw. This happened repeatedly, with Gon using the candle to burn her jaw each time the vase fell. Eventually, Gon employed the exorcism knife to lay the woman back into her coffin. Ignoring her cries, Gon plunged the knife into her abdomen, forcing her to remove the fetus. Due to the involvement of this international organization, the fetus was extracted from her abdomen. After this, Kun quietly returned home and put back his master's magic knife, unaware that his master hadn't rested all night and knew Kun had taken the magic weapon. When questioned, Kun admitted to secretly refining petroleum but lied about selling it when ordered to return it. In Thailand, petroleum has magical power. If rubbed on someone, they fall in love with you. Unscrupulous tycoons pay high prices for it. Kun refined petroleum to save for marrying Sui, a woman from his village. The master warned he'd be punished for such harmful deeds. In love, Kun ignored this and stole more petroleum to earn dowry money. A ghostly hand took over removing the mold from the school for $15 million. It was Quin's first solo exorcism. Nervous, he drank a bottle of wine before arriving. The headmaster, seeing Quin drunk, doubted his choice but trusted Quin's famous teacher. On the second floor, Quin saw the rope was gone and realized it wouldn't be burnt. Quan, relieved to see the rope, knew burning it would make the ghost vanish. He applied ashes under his eyes and saw the female ghost. Shockingly, before he acted, she was on the ground, clutching his leg, pleading with standard chartered mother not to abandon her again. It's clear that this female ghost was harmed by a villain and chose to end her life, yet Gon feels no pity for her. She only wants to resolve the issue of the female ghost and earn 15 million companion. As Gon recites the incantation, the amulet shines intensely with a red light. Gon needs to strike the glowing amulet on the female ghost, which will turn her into a wisp of smoke and vanish. However, due to being drunk, Gon struggles to focus, requiring much effort to defeat the female ghost. The female ghost was only defeated with considerable effort. After that, Gon stood on the desk, ready to remove the hangman's rope to be burned. But then, suddenly, a ghostly hand appeared. She realized that she hadn't truly vanquished the ghost, yet she continued to treat him as if he were a liar, vomiting on him and attempting to strangle him. At that precise moment, Kun recited a different incantation, holding a talisman in his hand, and struck the ghost on the head. The ghost vanished, but in an instant, it reappeared. However, Sui, fearing for her own safety, arrived at the school with her friend Ing and became possessed by the female ghost. Koan and Ing attempted to stop her, but in the next moment, they were thrown back by Sui's force, flying across the room, and even the talisman fell to the side. Sui leaped onto Koan and seized him by the neck with her hands, yet Koan found himself unable to break free from her grip, despite all his efforts. When Sui let out a scream, the female ghost vanished once more. Father instructed Ing to take the unconscious Sui back home, and he planned to take Koan away. From Father's perspective, the role of an exorcist is never to destroy ghosts, but rather to liberate their souls and guide them to eternal rest. Therefore, he was adamant that the female ghost should be sentenced to death. However, Koan was indifferent. He picked up the rope and was about to leave. Suddenly, the female ghost collapsed behind Koan, and in the next moment, it possessed him. Upon seeing this, he was prepared to use the talisman, but Koan pushed him off from the second floor. As he tried to get up, he realized his leg was already broken. Meanwhile, across the room, Koan was still unable to break free from the female ghost's control. But the girl grabbed an iron bar nearby and stabbed him right through the neck. Before he died, he managed to put on the talisman with his last breath. A golden light shone brilliantly from his chest, and the evil spirit was finally forced out of his body. However, when he was about to cremate his father's body, he discovered a large sum of money in the wallet and a note inside it, saying that he had been saving the money for his wife's wedding. It never occurred to him that his father, who had always been so harsh on him, had secretly been saving money for his dowry. This revelation made him remember his father's words, that exorcists should not have feelings for others, because evil spirits, in their revenge against the exorcist, would often harm the people closest to them. This was what he had been most worried about. The only thing he truly desires is for Soi to be safe from harm. To ensure Soi's safety, he makes the decision to leave the village. He entrusts Soi to Young's care, knowing that Young harbors a secret love for Soi. He hopes that Soi will eventually reciprocate Young's feelings, leading to a blossoming romance between them. Afterward, Soi forgets about Gon and chooses to stay with Young. Meanwhile, Gon, having left the village, wanders aimlessly. One day, he encounters a girl who has been possessed by a ghost due to stealing a tribute. Unlike before, Gon refrains from driving the ghosts away himself. Instead, he opts to use a talisman to expel the ghostly presence. John was an orphan like him, and a quick worker. Quinn thought about it and decided to accept John's request, but before he could become an exorcist, he had to pass a test of courage, and that was to see the ghosts with his own eyes. Quinn asked John to rub special bone ash under his eyes, and the next moment he saw the ghosts and souls that Quinn had caught in the meantime. To Quinn's great satisfaction, John, though scared, calmed down very quickly. He told him that there were several taboos against exorcists, one of which was not to eat the tributes, and that he was already aware of this. 2 should not eat the winter melon, 3 should not touch the evil spirits, and that if they violated these taboos, the exorcist's powers would be weakened. He told him that although he couldn't be an exorcist, he could be an assistant to an exorcist. After his death, he could only come to terms with the fact that with John's company, Akun's life had improved and wasn't as bad as before. Not long after, an unexpected person appeared before him, his beloved, Soi. Originally, under the influence of petroleum, Soi not only forgot Akun but also fell in love with Ing, and they got married quickly. However, what nobody anticipated was that Soi's feelings for Akun would start to help him break free from the petroleum's control, especially in recent times. What no one foresaw was that Soi's emotions for Akun would enable him to escape the oil's grasp, particularly lately, as he repeatedly saw a familiar figure in his dreams. Soi grew increasingly convinced that this familiar man was his true love. A few months later, he discovered the bottle of oil in his house. Soi suspected that Ing was controlling him, so he confided in his mother about wanting to divorce Ing and his intention to search for the man in his dream. To her, Kun was not only a poor man but also someone who spent all his time with ghosts and spirits. But Sui finally remembers because Ing suddenly passed away today. She visits Gon, not just for Ying's funeral, but to stay with him forever. Gon doesn't refuse his ex-girlfriend, he takes her back home. So, the former lovers and their pupil, Joan, live together like a family. That night, while Soi cleaned, a ghastly wind came, and the female ghost, used by Quinn to refine the stone oil, appeared behind Soi. The dark ghost invited her to pour water into the empty bucket. The truth is Soi was haunted by the ghost since being anointed with stone oil. She overheard her mother's and husband's conversation under the ghost's influence. Realizing they used stone oil to control her, she was desperate and hanged herself. Only after death did she escape the ghost, but after being anointed with stone oil, she escaped. At that very moment, the female ghost appeared right beside him and explained that he, much like herself, was forced to be separated from his beloved. The female ghost decided to assist Sudi in seeing Quinn one last time, and in return, she needed Sudi's help to reclaim the child from Quinn. With Sui's agreement, the two spirits took control of Sui's body and began moving together. While he was in the process of packing his belongings for departure, he was suddenly stopped by Ing. The female ghost, Kenji, appeared beside Soi without warning, urging him to kill Ing in order to avenge his own death. Under the influence of the female ghost, Soi ultimately strangled Ing to death. With the female ghost having fulfilled her promise to allow Soi to live with Akam for a period, it was now the time for her to help the female ghost find her child. The female ghost instructed Soi to first weaken Akam's powers, so she added winter melon to the dinner while Akam was taking John to the exorcist's stone, which coincidentally was exactly what the exorcist had recalled recently. At that moment, thinking about John returning home suddenly because he forgot a magic weapon, the ghost wanted to kill him out of fear of being exposed. But kind-hearted Soi tried to stop him. Akun had always been a good man, and maybe if he asked, Akun would hand over the ghost's child. To the ghost, this was absurd. Sui then realized the oil that clouded his mind was extracted by Koan and given to Ing. Sui couldn't believe the cruelty of the man she loved. While the ghosts talked, Koan went back to find John, as he hadn't returned. Upon entering, she heard John's warning and saw him fainted against the wall, hit by the female ghost. The next moment, Sui flashed before her, and now, it was Koan. He had to come to terms with the fact that Sui had turned into a ghost. Koan was left speechless when Sui questioned him. He didn't realize that his attempts to protect Sui ultimately caused harm. At that moment, a female ghost appeared behind Sui and urged him to kill Koan. However, Sui couldn't suppress her feelings for Koan and didn't want to go through with it. In a rage, the female ghost possessed Sui and unleashed her magic power to release the souls Koan had sealed. In an instant, Gon was besieged by many ghosts. This was the female ghost's perfect chance for revenge, but unexpectedly, John, who had been unconscious, appeared behind Soy and drove an exorcism knife into her body, forcing the female ghost to leave Soy. However, as John exorcised the demon for the first time, he was killed by the female ghost before he could celebrate. Seeing his disciple dying in front of him, Gon, furious over his disciple's death, chanted a mantra and used a body protection talisman to send the female ghost back to the grave. At that moment, Gon understood his master's words: an evil exorcist harms others and himself. Gon returned to the cemetery, reburied the girl's eagle child, and chanted to aid the souls. He helped the girl's ghost let go of her grudges, and even Sui forgave him. The two ghosts re-entered reincarnation, but John's ghost stayed, determined to follow Gon and become the first demon of the district. Master, that's today's story. I'm Yasser Arafat. Subscribe for more interesting horror videos. See you next time.